Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry Site, and today we're here with Tom Dixon. He is the Global Marketing Manager at Highline. Thanks for being with us today, Tom.
No, it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.
Very good. And today, Tom and I are in Berlin, Germany, not a place that we normally connect at, but we are at an exclusive event for the poultry industry called Producing for the Future, which is sponsored by EW Nutrition. So, and you are one of our presenters to the group of the poultry industry who's here today. And we're going to just talk through a couple questions, but you gave a nice overview of the business, of the Highline business today. So, and we'll just walk through a few questions here. What effects does Highline have on the global supply chain as a primary breeder of laying hens?
Yeah, well, Highline International is a primary breeder of laying hens. We work on our genetics of all of our lines, our white and brown and tint egg layers. And we have a balanced breeding program, and that we have a number of traits or characteristics that our geneticists are working on to improve every single year and really trying to meet the needs of egg producers all around the world. So we are offering the genetics then that will lay more eggs, higher rate of lay, higher persistency, better livability, improving the feed conversion, at the same time offering different egg weight profiles and assuring shelf strength, more saleable eggs at the end of the production cycle, and overall looking at the welfare, nesting behavior for cage-free systems, and finding birds that just are robust and live and lay under conditions all around the world. So Highline is working on those varieties, improving them every year with the intent that it will produce the most number of eggs most efficiently to egg producers all around the world, to try to supply as many of the 5 billion laying hens that lay eggs each day, and offering the Highline layer to fill that role.
And one of the things you talked about, Tom, that I thought was so interesting, and I forget sometimes, is this doesn't happen overnight. This is a process when you're working with genetics and changing genetics, right? That the changes you're making now take time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Highline's been around it'll be 90 years next year, so it's been a long process of improving varieties and a lot of experience in the company. But you're correct, as you say, the work that the genetics team is working on now, as far as the traits that we're looking at, if we make the selections tomorrow, those birds go down as even great-grandparent to the grandparent level, parent stock level. So by the time it gets down to the commercial egg producer and enters in production, it's 3-4 years till those birds hit the ground, and then it takes even longer for them to even fill the population. So it's kind of an ongoing process. So this improvement kind of hits. So the improvements you're seeing today were probably from like 2021 work we've done, and those are coming in. The 2022 work is coming in. So really, we have to look out quite a ways ahead and kind of predict what's going to be in 5 years from now. Is the immediate future. 10, 15, 20 is really kind of the time frame that a genetics program has to look at and really look long range and try to estimate what that market's going to be like a decade in the future.
Right. It's watching the long game, in other words, right? I mean, you're really looking out to the future.
Yeah, really. It's not any quick fix, and it's something that we're looking long term. And you look at a decade from now, you don't know the exact things that are going to happen. So you have to have a flexible layer, a balanced program, something that will really be able to be adaptable to markets. But for sure, people are going to want more eggs. That's always the ongoing demand. Is it something that will provide more eggs, provide more income for the egg producer, and then they have to convert well. So the feed conversion and more eggs is an ongoing trait that has to happen. So then what you do is you kind of build in your system flexibility, talking about egg weight profiles. So if all of a sudden markets want bigger eggs or smaller eggs, well, we have the genetics that we can do the matings and more quickly go that direction on egg weight profiles. Cage-free versus cage systems. We have birds that are really adaptable. So we're building in that kind of robustness and adaptability in our lines. So if all of a sudden housing systems were to change overnight or very quickly in a location, well, the birds will adapt to those kind of conditions. So short term, you can do some things. Long term, though, if you really want a specific change, it's 5 years, a decade in the future.
Very good. Interesting. How do eggs fit into a sustainable outlook for feeding the world?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and that's one thing I try to impress going around the world, is that how like Highline, working in the egg industry, all the farmers we work with and the breeder customers, we're really all working together to feed the world. And eggs are really a superfood. The more you see the information on the egg, I mean, 20, 30 years ago, it was considered a limit egg consumption. Now, pretty much any medical associations and the general wisdom in scientific community and nutritionists is that eggs are really important, really healthy. Eat eggs, eat more eggs, and just full of protein and the vitamins and minerals that you need, some certain percentage, and they're really affordable as well. So all working together, Highline to help the producers produce more efficiently, more affordably, have more access around the world will help feed the world. I mean, egg consumption is around a half an egg per person per day on the world at average, and that certainly is a lot of room to grow higher. And it could really, a lot of the places where egg consumption is very low are parts of the world that kind of have a lot of issues with hunger, problems with availability of good protein, good food. So those are really places that it's kind of a win-win to grow the egg markets in those regions, have egg more plentiful, more available for those populations is really going to help those parts of the world. And that's something that Highline egg producers really are ready to supply more of the world with eggs, and it's just really a great opportunity to get more eggs to more people. One, to feed people, but the other part is the sustainability. If we look at emissions and the planet, egg-laying hens are highly efficient. Their feed conversion ratio of 2 to 1 as far as feed to egg mass, or even better, is much better than other animal protein sources. So we see that in places that are looking to reduce carbon footprint and yet eat high-quality protein, broiler hens, egg-laying hens, their output is something that is really sustainable even from a planet emissions standpoint. So it really kind of checks all the boxes, and there's no reason really for eggs not to really continue to grow and occupy a larger part of fulfilling the protein needs for people all around the world.
Excellent. Very good. What regions of the world will see growth in egg production?
Yeah, the parts we think looking ahead to the next 10 to 20 years, Southeast Asia continues to grow. So I'd say right now that is the growth region. That'll continue to grow. But some of the newer parts, a decade, I think 20 years from now, they'll be looking at the world and seeing where it's grown is the continent of Africa. So I think by 2040, the population of Africa will be nearly, I think, 2 billion people, if my statistics are correct. And it's a lot of people that have the egg consumption is not real high in that part of the world. I believe it's around 70. So there's a lot of room for increased egg consumption, and a lot of that's just based on availability and maybe education and getting it more. Maybe overcoming some cultural barriers and getting it more consumed. It really makes sense in the Africa region, so a lot of people that could have a lot of increase in egg consumption. The other one would be India. So India is now the largest, most populous country in the world with 1.4 billion people-ish, and they'd also eat around maybe 70 eggs. So if all of a sudden the Indian continent wanted to eat more eggs and make it a bigger part of their diet, that would just a lot of room for growth. So those would be the two locations really looking for growth in the world: India, Africa, and continued Southeast Asia region.
Very good. And I think you mentioned that India is a really big producer of eggs now. Is that right?
Yeah, if you look at the latest statistics, India has surpassed the USA as the number 2 egg producer in the world. Wow. And that's even with such a low egg consumption. Right. Well, you have 1.4 billion people, so it's about 4 times the human population, but they eat about a fourth of the number of eggs. So they're very similar in total output, but they're going to probably keep up and keep going just because they have so much opportunity. Where in the U.S., we're eating about 284 eggs per capita, so it's maybe not a whole lot of room for growth, but even the USA should grow as well. But yeah. Number 1, China. Number 2, India. Number 3, U.S. And then the top 10, you got Mexico, Brazil, Indonesia. Some of these other countries have really the high egg consumption regions of the world. So.
Very good. And really quick, just to close out, you talked a little bit about a program that you guys are doing in South Africa to help families and people there who are food insecure. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, maybe about 2 years ago, Highline approached Blessman International in South Africa. And it's an organization that they do a lot of things there, but one of the key work that they're doing is feeding kids in South Africa. They set up these feeding hubs in, I think, 11 different locations in the country that today is feeding about 60,000 kids. the Blessman actually originates from Des Moines. Their head office in Des Moines, Iowa, so it's down the street. We had some acquaintance. Short story, we connected with them, and they wanted to offer eggs along with their feeding program. The meals that they give, these kind of stew that they put together, add egg protein to it. So Highland approached them. We're putting in some pullets, and they're raising eggs and hard boiling and give them to the kids locally. And so about 5,000 of the kids in their program are getting an egg a day, and they're kind of seeing the benefits. They're looking at it and saying, talking to the teachers and analyzing it. Say the kids are, more energy. They like the eggs. They're more excited to eat and come every day, and they're seeing a lot of benefit from it. It's kind of sustainability in action. We just kind of to show that how can eggs really affect populations and become part of the diet. So it's kind of a fun little, a nice program we're doing, and we want to keep working on that and just looking. I think we'll probably touch a couple other parts of the world as well, and trying to show how eggs can benefit folks all around the world.
Right. And you kind of think if kids are raised on eggs, right, you're more likely probably to eat eggs as a grown-up, right, and keep that trend going. If it's part of your staple diet, right, when you're young, we all have those comfort foods, right, that we think back to as what we ate as kids, and I think that would make a difference too.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a learned behavior, right?
Yeah.
So I think my family eat a lot of eggs. I eat eggs pretty much every day, and I love eggs, and I think so too. You probably get populations. You grow up never eating eggs. It's just not part of your diet, so it's not part of your customs. So maybe you have to break through a little bit of that barrier. So so maybe just as an opportunity. So get people to start early and eat eggs, and probably continue it in adult life, and just grow the market that way.
Very good. Well, thanks for your time today, Tom. It was a lot of fun.
No, thanks so much. Nice talking to you.
Thank you. This is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry Site.